Okay, so welcome to Let's Talk. So today we're going to be doing our football episode, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. So we're going to just talk about key issues around football, what's happened this week, and just give our thoughts. And then if anybody wants to leave their thoughts in the comments, that'd be great. So should we kick it straight off, John?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, so the first one we've got is just what's happened this week is Danny Mills. So Danny Mills has done a podcast. And I'll check what the podcast was on. Oh, Under the Cosh, that was it. So it was on Under the Cosh. Really good podcast if you're interested in football podcasts and stuff. And he went on there and he just talked about his career, and he went into great detail about it. About all the clubs he went to, how he started out, and stuff like that. And it was actually a really good podcast to watch. There was a little bit of it though that I, as a Leeds fan, took offence to. So I'll explain what happened. So he was talking about. In 2002, we'd just been to the World Cup with England, and he just, obviously England did really well. He did really well. So he came back to Leeds, and he said, "Look, I want a bigger contract." He leaked to the media that Middlesbrough were interested in him. So Leeds were very keen to keep him. Said, "Yep, we want to give you a new contract." He went into on the podcast you'll watch, but he jokes about how he goes in. First of all, he wants 30. He's on 18 grand a week, and he wants 35. And then after his meeting with his accountant and stuff, it ends up going into the meeting with the Leeds chairman at the time, Peter Ridsdale, for 65 grand. Peter Ridsdale falls off his chair, can't believe what he's asking. And he's, in the podcast that he knows, he's laughing and joking and stuff. Anyway, they signed a deal. He doesn't actually say what the deal is for, but they signed a deal. And we're guessing it's around about 35,000 he signed the contract for, a new 5-year contract. Then what happens is Leeds then have a terrible season. They're, near the relegation zone, and they're going into administration. They're selling all the players. And when it gets to... And then they go into administration. The administrators come in and say, right, no more deals. You can't sign any more players or anything like that. Yeah. Danny Mills, then it gets announced that he gets a new 5-year deal. So for the contract, it actually got delayed a little bit because of legal reasons. So they go into administration. He gets a 5-year deal. And on the podcast, he's laughing and joking about it. And I'm just thinking, like, Leeds have just gone into administration. You've just had a massive increase in your wage, and you're laughing and joking that you've got this and nobody else has, type thing. Then it goes into next season, and he goes to Middlesbrough because Leeds are in debt. They've got no money, and he said, "Look, Leeds need the money to come in." So he goes to Middlesbrough on loan for the season. He then comes back, and Leeds have been relegated. They're in, administration. They're selling all the key players. All the top boys. Viduka's gone, Smith's gone, everyone's gone. And he's the highest paid earner in the club. And he goes, and then so Kevin Keegan from Manchester City, they've just been promoted to the Premier League. He then rings Danny Mills and said, "Look, I want to bring you in. The only thing is I can only do 75% of your wages. So that's around about 26,000 that they can pay." He then goes to Leeds and says, "I'm not going anywhere unless you pay the rest of the 25% of my wage." Leeds are saying they can't afford it. Look, we can't afford it. And he, gets PFA and stuff like that. And they do a deal where Leeds can pay him over the next 3 years to pay off the rest of that. And he goes to Manchester City. But throughout all of it, he keeps saying, "I love the club. I love the club. And if I called in my debts, I could have bankrupted the club. I could have ruined the club." And I'm just thinking, as a Leeds fan, I'm just thinking, well, this isn't right. Like, do you know what I mean? And throughout all of it, he's just laughing and joking. And the point that I had with it is that he's on 35 grand a week. He's obviously been dropped to 26,000. And if in a normal circumstance you did that as a wage, so let's say I'm earning 2,500 and it drops down to 1,600 a month, then that's a lot of income, and I've got to pay a mortgage for that. But the guy's on 26 grand a week in a 4-year contract in the Premier League. Does he really need the extra from Leeds? Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
That's the thing with me. It was just that he kept laughing and joking about it, and I just felt, he kept saying he loved the club, and I just thought, if you love the club that much, you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I think money talks. That's one thing you have to understand. Money talks, that's 26 grand a week, that is still a lot. Obviously, especially back then, in those days, that's a lot of money. Today is probably like pocket change, but back then that's a lot of money. So yeah, to hold Leeds for ransom behind that for that kind of thing is wrong. But we don't. But on the flip side, maybe there's more stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about as to why he would go back to Leeds and do something like that. I don't know how the club. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm just saying maybe there's extra stuff behind the scenes in terms of maybe how it was run. Maybe he didn't even like. Maybe he didn't get along with the owner and stuff like that. And maybe that's another reason why. But because he's one of the top players and he wants to leave, he's going to try and force a move whatever way he can and try and get the best deal that goes for him. So
that's what he did do, didn't he? He did do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's just like for Leeds want to get rid of him, and it's just like I felt like in this kind of term maybe the power was in his hands, kind of thing. If that makes sense,
yeah.
It's in his hand, but it doesn't morally make it right. But at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. You're a player. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. You got to try and suck as much money out as you can, and try and get the best deal that you possibly can. I understand what you're saying from a fan's perspective. It doesn't seem right. I don't disagree with you. But from a player's perspective, your aim is as much as to play at the highest level you can is to make as much money as you can.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made, to be fair, and I do agree with that. I think the thing that's annoyed me the most about it is the way he kept saying, "I love the club," and he jumped the last couple of years. He's jumped on the bandwagon of Leeds doing really well, and it's like, oh yeah, and he's doing his commentary and stuff like that, and he's really jumping on the bandwagon of Leeds. But I just think he showed Leeds no respect. I mean, we mentioned Alioski a couple of weeks ago going to Galatasaray and stuff like that. And I think, and I said that he's shown the club no respect. Well, Danny Mills has showed this club no respect whatsoever. And I remember being a Leeds fan in them times. I mean, I've got to miss out as well. So when Leeds went into administration for a second time, when they went to League One, he still collected debt, but this time said, pay me over 5 years. So Leeds were paying him over 5 years, and they've been in administration twice. And I get what you're saying. That's a good point that, he's a footballer, he's trying to milk as much money as he can. But I just think you've shown the club no respect whatsoever. And I'm disgusted that you even associate yourself with a club now. Like, do you know what I mean? How you can take money off a club. And like I say, I remember the times, I remember the amount of the good players that we sold for nothing because we had no money. The young lads that came through the academy, your cousin was a prime example. We give him away for £1 million.
Spurs, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Danny Rose was another one. We got all these youngsters who went to play for England, give them away for nothing because Leeds were absolutely. And I mean, look, it's not Danny Mills' fault either. I need to say that it's not Danny Mills' fault either that the club was run so badly. I could go on for hours about how poorly the club was run at that period of time. And that was their own fault for spending 35 grand on the right back a week. Do you know what I mean? But I just think for me, it just showed a total lack of respect for the club, and to still collect your debt after 5 years and 2 administrations, and then say I still love the club and I still want to do well. I just think
a bit of a slap in the face. It's just like, I don't disagree on that. I don't disagree with you on that, and I can see why Leeds fans would be hurt. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. But I do remember also the agents have something to do with that as well because they're the ones that help.
He didn't have an agent.
He didn't have one. Oh, that makes it even worse then. I was trying to give him a slight benefit of some sort of doubt. No doubt. Okay. No.
On the podcast, he goes into detail where he says he was in Burger King with his mate and his agent, his mate and his accountant, and they wanted 35 grand a week. And by the time they got to Peter Ridsdale's office, it got to 65 grand a week. And he said that Middlesbrough offered 8 million. So it was something like Middlesbrough offered 8 million for him after the World Cup, and obviously he stayed and then went for nothing like a year later. So it's mad. But I mean, I could go on for hours about Peter Ridsdale because he literally just spent ridiculous amounts of money on the players. Like he bought Robbie Fowler from Liverpool and really good player and stuff, but he just bought as many good players as he could find. Mm-hmm. Didn't fit the system that we played. We didn't do well with it, and it all crumbled. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
huge club. So yeah.
Yeah. Next topic. So top 4 race. What are you thinking? Squeaky bum time for Liverpool.
Well, I think
now.
the top two the top two is the top two. It's going to be Manchester City and Man United. And then it's just a case of Leicester and whoever else. And I say Leicester and whoever else because Leicester, they did. I think they will get over the line this time, but they faltered last season when it mattered the most. They made it get down to the last game of the season when it shouldn't have. So maybe their nerves might creep in towards the end of the season. But for fourth place, it's on. Fourth place is on. Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, West Ham. I think Villa are now going to be out of it.
Yeah.
But I think those are the main runners. I can't put it past West Ham, because they're playing too well. They've beaten teams around them like before, so I can't say West Ham aren't in it. Of course they are, but it's gonna be. I don't know who's gonna make it. Obviously, on my heart, I want Liverpool to make it. Obviously, I want Liverpool to make it. But if we don't make it, I can see it going to Chelsea. I just think Chelsea would. Because defensively, out of all those teams, I think defensively Chelsea have the best defensive team. What do you think?
Even though they conceded 5 against West Brom?
Even though, yes. Because what we've won in Liverpool, we've got 1 win. Imagine, that was our first win at home in the Premier League since was it December? December before. Yeah, that's shocking. That means we've conceded plenty of goals and lost. Unacceptable. So I think that, and even we lost to Chelsea as well. So I think stuff like that is going to cost us dearly. So I think Chelsea, if it's not Liverpool that get over the line, it's going to be Chelsea that get over the line. I just need Chelsea to drop points again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it'll go all the way to the end of the season. I think. I like to hope Leicester get into the top 4, but I don't know. I just don't know. I just think I don't know if I'd like to think they are, but anyone could do it. I don't think Tottenham will. I don't think they're good enough, and I think if they do, I think it's a masterstroke from Mourinho because I don't think they're good enough, and I think they've just got too many poor players in the squad. I think West Ham do really well against teams below them, and I think they can beat anyone below them. But it's the teams that are above them that they do struggle against, and I think. I'm not sure who they've got left to play. I don't think
Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester. That's what I mean.
I'm sure they've got they've definitely got a couple of other hard teams. I'm sure they've got to play Manchester City again at home. I'm sure, but I don't know.
I mean, with West Ham, the Jesse Lingard signing is an absolute mess.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
From Moisey. Yeah. So they're saying he's a £30 million player now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what an absolute massive he's in. But yeah, I think Liverpool are going on a bit of a run now. I've said this before. I think they will. I think now they've got over. They've won at home, and I think I think they could go on a bit of a run. You've got Leeds next, so they're on
3 points.
They're on my head.
Man City might have. You beating Manchester City means that. Basically, you might be too tired to play us next week, so it'll give us a shot.
We've got over a week rest.
That's not the point. That's neither here nor there. But
and we've got the best team in the league.
But hold up, your best defender's not going to be playing.
Oh, best defender. I was when he got sent off.
Buzzing. Actually, that's probably the best defensive performance you've had. So fair play.
Back on the top 4. Yeah, I think Liverpool. I think Liverpool can sneak it. I think Chelsea are, like you say, a very good defensive team. They just don't have that striker at the moment. But they just don't have that striker.
That's how they're set up, though. Chelsea's set up kind of like that, where they don't need to play with a number 9. They play with
they do play with a striker though. Werner, Giroud, and Tommy.
Oh.
But they're not really scoring, no. It's gonna be interesting because I think whichever team falls out of the top 4 is going to be like massive for them.
Because actually, I don't know if you saw this, but I think Harry Kane has said that he might want to leave Spurs if they don't make top 4. So if that is not an added incentive to make the top 4, I don't know what is. So
he needs to leave anyway. He needs to leave anyway.
He needs Champions League. He's not a Thursday night.
But that squad that, like, going back into Tottenham, that squad that they've got is not good enough. It's just not good enough. I mean, you're looking at world-class players. You've got Son and Kane.
True, but the thing is, most of that squad got them to the Champions League final. Whether it was a bit of luck or not, most of that squad got them to the Champions League final. And arguably, they've got arguably, that team that got to the Champions League final, they might even have a better team than they have now. They might have a better team now than what they did.
No, but your defence was a lot more steadier, though. A lot more sturdier. And they peaked as well. That when they got to the Champions League final, that was their peak. And you're always going to decline in your peak. Dele Alli, he's not the Dele Alli that he once was. You had Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Well, Vertonghen's not there. Alderweireld is not the same player what he was. Do you know what I mean? So it's different circumstances. You had Kieran Trippier. He was there at Champions League, wasn't
he? Yes.
Yeah. So as a steady right back, he was a steady right back. They thought he was on the decline, so they got rid of him, and obviously not really replaced him. Replaced him with Doherty, who's had a terrible season, and Aurier, who was just everywhere. So I think it is the same team that got the Champions League final, but that was their peak of being the best that they were going to be, and they needed to strengthen, and they're not strengthened. Yeah. I mean, the players that brought in the lad in central midfield, he's a good player, but I mean, other than that,
Højbjerg.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He doesn't keep it ticking, yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they've brought anyone in that is like a game changer. Do you know what I mean? Who's up there with Kane and Son?
Well, Bale's not really playing, is he? So
Bale's not playing at all. I mean, his wages is like 325 grand a week. Crackers, and he's not turned up. So it's like you're looking at that and you're just thinking,
no, it's just no, it's not. Well, that's Spurs for you. Spurs. Well, they need to. At least they got a chance to win a cup. Something that we should have not done in ages. So if they win a trophy, then they'll be happy with that. So. Yeah,
it's a League Cup.
That's the last thing they won. 2008. They would take anything.
I think though with Tottenham now, I think it's more they're on the decline than they are on the up. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if Kane leaves next year, it is going to be a complete rebuild because you've got to completely rebuild that team.
That's true.
You lose Kane out of that team, you lose 30 goals a season.
Absolutely.
And no one striker is going to come in to replicate that. Which, I mean, looking at the strikers that are around.
Like, who could you get? That's the thing. Who could you get?
No, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, a player of his standard, you're talking like Haaland, but he ain't going to go to Spurs.
No.
So
no, definitely not. No.
But, so you're looking at like more of a Danny Ings, good striker, but he's not.
What about Jimenez? What about the one that's at Wolves? I know he's injured now, but because I don't think anyone would take player.
No, but I don't think anyone would take a risk on him next season.
Really? Why?
No, but because he's been out for so long. I mean, he's a striker. I think he'll do well at Wolves, but I just don't see anyone taking a gamble on him.
I don't know. I think he's got a punter's chance. I think he's got a slight chance. But well, Leeds would, so don't even try it.
I'd try it. I'd have him. I'd have him in a heartbeat. But I just think.
Oh, who would start him or Bamford?
Bamford every day of the week.
Jimenez.
He's class.
No.
He's class.
Mate, you have to start both.
For the danger.
You're not dropping Jimenez.
You may as well under the league title.
Well, yeah, of the teams in the bottom 10, yeah, we'll give you that one. I'm joking.
Yeah, right. So go on, predict top 4. What are you saying?
City, United, Leicester, and Liverpool.
I'd say I'd swap Chelsea for Liverpool.
Or can't you just swap them for Leicester instead?
No, I think Liverpool are going to run, but I just think Liverpool they're sort of their own worst enemy, where it's a bit. It might be a little bit too little, too late, but they've dropped 2-minute easy points for bankers. Do you know what I mean? Banker points, and I think that might cost them.
Well, we'll see.
Right, next up, Aguero's next club.
Liverpool, come on, get him. No, I'm joking. Probably Barcelona, maybe Barcelona, or maybe he might go back to Atletico Madrid.
I've heard he wants to stay in England.
Does he? I don't know about that. I don't. That's not the kind of rumors I had heard. But I thought he wanted to go back. I think he wants to go back abroad. I think he'll go back abroad. I think he might even go back to Argentina. To be quite honest.
I've heard. I thought that originally, but I think he's got a few years left in him, and I think that the rumor that I've heard, he's still got a bit of, a few more years left in him, and he'd be quite happy to stay in England. And the teams that are talking, Chelsea, Spurs, Leeds has been a big one, but I don't think Leeds is an option. But there's been loads of websites coming out with Leeds today, or the other day. Because you look at his wages like $300,000 a week.
It's true. Well, anyway, if Kane goes, then I know it's not a made replacement, but let's say it's not. The fact his age now and how he is now, he's probably past it a little bit, but that wouldn't be a bad acquisition.
I think
for at least a season.
I think because of his wages and because the problem is we've just not seen enough of him this season because of his injuries and the rotation. But what I have seen him, I don't think he's a player that he once was. So he's definitely not a £300,000 a week player. I think he's a good second striker, as in I think any top 4 team would take him as a second striker, as in you can rotate with someone else. But I think Harry Kane, it's Harry Kane or no one. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it. And I think with Tottenham, if they took Aguero, I don't think he would have the same impact as Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like if Leeds took him, I'd snap their hand off, and I think so would you at Liverpool. Like
I'll take him.
Yeah, player of that standard and stuff. And just for his experience, for like the younger lads and stuff like that, like he's unbelievable. But like, I just don't think. I don't think he's. It's age. It's his age, though, isn't it? As well. Like, could he do 30?
Yeah, he's in his 30s, isn't it? Yeah.
Could he do 38 games a season and not get an injury? But then you look at Luis Suarez.
But yeah, I was just gonna say that Suarez is just smashing it right now. And look at his age. That's another reason why I said maybe he'd go back to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Aguero and Suarez up front. Forget, I know that like Aguero might be slightly past the prime, but that is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. That's quite scary. I'd like to see that. Aguero and Suarez.
Yeah, I think he's got one more big club left in him, and I think he'll go to Argentina to finish.
Yeah.
But look at, I was going to say as well, look at like players like look at Vardy.
Yeah, but Vardy's still got his pace. Aguero ain't really. He's got as long as Aguero, you never. If you're a footballer, I guess you never lose your intelligence. Then he has his intelligence. So
the thing is about Jimmy Vardy, because he says this, that he said that the older he's got, the better he's got, because he's learned different things, or he's learned how to so he like saves himself for them sprints. Do you know what I mean? So and it's like he retired from international duty because he knew if he wanted to prolong his career, he wouldn't be able to do it anymore. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think it might be Michael Owen who said that he said towards the end of his career, it might be a bad example of this with Michael Owen, but he said towards the end of his career, he said he learned more about, his movement and stuff like that, because he said, because I didn't have the pace anymore, I had to learn more about getting in the right positions and stuff like that. So, I think any top 4 team would take him. But yeah,
he'd be good at Leicester. Leicester would be good.
It's his wages, or can teams really afford him? I don't think Leeds could afford his wages. Not a chance. Leeds is top earners. But Leeds are like top earners, like $50,000 a week, and I think that's Calvin Phillips, who's an England international. Like, there's not a chance they're paying $300,000 a week for a player.
You might have to take a pay cut. I know you ain't gonna like it, but you might have to take a pay cut. But then there will be a club that will pay that though. So
Barcelona, they'd pay it.
That's what I'm saying. But
you think merchandise sells as well? You get Aguero in.
That's what I mean. Yeah. No, that'd be good for them on a free. What about going to Juventus, who tend to always pick up decent players?
Ronaldo, that'd be dirty, that, wouldn't it?
You know, but they tend to pick up decent players on a free.
They're a mess. I think they're a bit of a mess, to be honest, Juventus. I think they've got one of the best players ever lived, and they can't even win the league.
I know. Well, they won it the season before, but this season.
Yeah, but they've got the best player in the league. They've got one of the best players ever lived. They've got the best player ever lived. Even Messi, Messi, the best player that ever lived, and they can't even win a league.
Awful. They're miles behind Inter. Awful.
And I think the way that Juventus will be going, they're probably going to, with Pirlo coming in, they want more of the youth aspect. So I think they
because if you look at Juventus, I agree with you, because if you look at Juventus overall, like, they tend to have a lot of older players. Like their team's never really that young, really. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree.
Yeah, but with Aguero, it's if the club takes a risk on him, because if you look at like some players where like you bought them towards the end of the careers, and 1 minute, like one time it'll be brilliant and they'll score loads of goals, the next minute it'll be horrendous and they won't do anything. Like I remember when Ian Rush went to Leeds and from Liverpool, absolute prolific striker at Liverpool, went to Leeds and did nothing. Like, it was terrible. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, joy, isn't it? Yeah. But do you know what I mean? So it's just, it's just if they take the risk and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Next one. Champions League.
Who's going to win it? You see, it's so easy to say, like, between Bayern, Man City, and PSG. But honestly, I'm looking at Real Madrid and Chelsea, and I'm thinking, no one's saying anything about these two teams at all. Because Chelsea, as much as they got a striker, but defensively, I know they shipped 5 against West Brom, but they've improved so much, and they're going under the radar and just going about their business in the Champions League very well. So they're definitely going to make the semi-finals. Madrid will probably beat us, Liverpool, in the second leg.
Don't write Liverpool off.
I don't want to write.
No, but don't write Liverpool off. I remember when there was, 4-0 down against Barcelona. Like, never write Liverpool off.
I know. I don't want to, but I just think defensively, put it this way, the two centre backs that are going to play, if they get the job done, that'll be one of the best matches of their whole career. If they're able to stand up and not concede another goal and we win the game and go through. I don't want to write us off, but like I find this is a harder task. This is such a tough task. No, we ain't got centre halves, so it's tricky. But obviously, I want us to go through. But I still think, don't sleep on Real Madrid and Chelsea. People are not even talking about them. They have a chance. Having said that, on the other side, obviously, you got Manchester City, PSG, and Bayern. Obviously, Bayern, obviously, they lost the first leg. But if they had if they had Lewandowski, they probably would be 3-4-1 up on PSG. So I don't think there's a clear favourite. I don't really think there's a clear favourite of who's going to win.
I think for me, I'd say if you have to pick a favourite, I think City would be my favourite, and the reason is because I'll get this in there before just while we're talking about it. Obviously, Leeds beat them 2-1 at the Etihad, and the first team to do it with 10 men for more than 45 minutes. I'll just mention that. But the thing is with City, and they can rest players. Do you know what I mean? They can rest players, and that's what they did against us. They completely changed the team. They didn't have a lot of their star players didn't play, so they could rest them, and that could be key to when it comes to that. I mean, when it's look at when Liverpool beat Milan in the final. Like it doesn't matter with like. You can rest many players you want and stuff, but it's on the day. It's on the game if you deliver and stuff. So, but I definitely think they've got an advantage just because they can rest. They've already got fantastic depth in the squad, but because they can rest so much, and I think because this is the one that Pep wants. The league title's theirs. They've won it. He wants a Champions League, and I think if he's going to do it, this is the year you're going to do it. Saying that, the good teams, Bayern Munich are a very good team, and for PSG to beat them, in the first leg were, fantastic.
But no Lewandowski, and I think that for me sets them why. So if Lewandowski are playing, I think Bayern Munich are favourites to win the Champions League. I think Bayern are just a little bit higher than Manchester City and everyone else with Lewandowski. Without Lewandowski, you drop them back to the main field, because they're still capable of scoring goals. Anybody else can score. Tons of players can score goals, but I think it's more of a level playing field without Lewandowski. But with Lewandowski, for me, they're favourites. I think Bayern Munich are favourites to win Champions League.
I think it's on the day. I think it'll be on the day. I just think, I mean, like you mentioned Lewandowski, but look at De Bruyne for City. He's just as influential. Do you know what I mean? And I think if City are going to do it, they'll do it this year, because I think it's the best possible chance they're going to get. Do you know what I mean? I'd never write off Liverpool, just because you know what they can do in the Champions League, and they do love a comeback, and I'd never write them off. I don't know if it might be too far from this year, just because of, like you said, the injuries and stuff. I mean, if you look at someone posted on Twitter the other day, it was like, Liverpool announced the new signings already, and it was Henderson, Van Dijk. I mean, like, do you know what I mean? It's like but when you look at them players that are going to come back, like you're like, do you know what I mean? Like different levels. So I don't know if it'd be too far. PSG and Bayern, I think, will be a bit of a toss-up in the second leg.
Bayern are capable.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll run away with it though. And I don't know. You just don't know with PSG, because they're doing so badly in the league. You're just like.
But some teams do that though. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe their eggs are all in one basket, just like to win the Champions League.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. They might put their because defensively they're not even that good, but they've got the players that can win in a match. You've got your Neymar and your Mbappe. You've got players that can get the job done. So it's just it's a weird one. So okay, so who are you going for? You're going for City?
Yeah, City would be my top choice. If I had to pick one right now, it'd be City. It'd be City, Bayern.
I'm going Bayern.
Maybe as a third, I'd maybe go Real Madrid, just because.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Yeah, they do like the Champions League, don't they? And I think he's won it.
Chelsea.
2 times Zidane's won it. 3 times he's won it.
3, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they know what they're doing with that. But if Liverpool knock them out, they're all good teams. Like, do you know what I mean? And on the day, they're all brilliant as well. So it's in a final. If you said who's going to win the final, it's just a toss-up, because they're all very good teams.
It's true. Yeah. See, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So last bit is just racism in football. So obviously at the moment it's just we're only going to talk briefly about this. We could probably go on for hours, but it's just absolutely rife at the moment. Like, so many examples every single day at the moment. So Sean, do you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to say because obviously Liverpool played Real Madrid the other day, and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Keita got it. Shocking. It's just ridiculous, and they're not the only ones that got it this week. I think there's a couple other players that got it as well this week. Terrible. It just needs to stop. It's just we keep banging on about it. The message needs to get through to these people online. Whoever's doing all this, it won't be tolerated. Racism will not be tolerated anywhere, and it's unacceptable. So everyone, we need to just keep reporting these people that are doing this craziness, and they need to be educated. Because it's meant, like I said, mental health wise as well. It will eventually affect the players. I do like what some of the clubs are doing. Some of the clubs are boycotting. I think Swansea and Birmingham, they boycotted using social media due to racism. Thierry Henry was talking about doing that as well. I thought that was a good thing as well. So, it seems like the social media companies aren't doing anything. So we have to take things and do things ourselves. That's absolutely fine. Because change needs to happen. It needs to come. So, keep fighting against racism.
Yeah, I think it's wrong though that they should have to do that, like the players. I think it's wrong that they should have to boycott social media and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think I couldn't suggest what needs to be done. Like, I literally don't know. But I think there needs to, because the problem is you can't track the people that are doing it, because you can use fake accounts and stuff.
No, but that's the thing though. How do you stop seeing it then? Because it's just like because clearly the social media programs are proving that they don't want to do anything. So for you as a person to stop seeing it, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Take yourself away from it. Yeah, that's what I'd say. But I think it's wrong that you should have to do that.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree.
I don't know what to suggest, because I think these people should be prosecuted, but some of these people you won't even find. So it's
true.
And it's something as well that you, like, as a kid, you just say, like, if someone was like trying to wind you up or something, you just say ignore it. Do you know what I mean? Or just ignore it. But you can't ignore these things, and you can't ignore it when it's posted all over social media about these players and stuff, and about these people and stuff, and it's just not right. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
But yeah, I think tougher,
Restriction.
restrictions need to happen. But I mean, what that is, I just don't know. I definitely think it needs to be like fines, prison sentences, banned from. Obviously, we can go back to games, banned from games. Because that's if you do it in a game, you're banned from that stadium for life. Do you know what I mean? So something around that needs to happen. But like I said, with social media, it is so hard because anyone can create a fake profile and just post whatever they want.
It's true. There's not, but I think there is one social media just racial and discriminations officer. I think there is one, which is new. But what's the point of only having one? It's happening all the time. There's so much happening. What's the point of only having one officer? You need probably more than that. But I guess you've got to start somewhere. But let's hope for better days. Fingers crossed. Let's hope for better days.
Yeah, but it just frustrates me just for the fact that a player has a bad game and then it's just like.
But it's normal now. That's the sad thing.
It's normal. That's the thing.
That's why for me, as much as I'm talking calmly, inside it hurts. But if I just keep getting upset every single time I see this, it's not going to get me anywhere. And the fact that it's like I said right now, it's so sad, but it's like it's normal. Yeah, and that is the worst thing. It's like somebody have a bad game today, and then what? You're expecting it. You're expecting it. You will literally the tomorrow you'll see it. Also, you'll see it. This person was racially abused. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. But
yeah, I think the only thing they're going to do is just crack down on it, and there's nothing else I can do. Cool. So that's everything on our football chat for this week. So let us know down in the comments what you thought about that. So something completely different that we've done. Just discussing top subjects around football and stuff. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, any subjects that you want us to talk about through the weeks and stuff, drop down in the comments and we can definitely discuss that. Or if anybody wants to come on and discuss anything with us, that we can definitely do that. But yeah, please subscribe, click that notification button, and thanks for watching. John, do you want to?
Awesome. Yeah, and don't forget to check out the Instagram page, the Castbox page, and the Facebook page at Let's Talk with Sean and Luke. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.